What's up folks, Mike here at Well Watches. Welcome to the video, and in today's video we're going to be taking yet another look at the Seiko Sea Urchin, but this video is a little bit different because we're going to be taking a look at the bracelet that comes fitted to the watch rather than the watch itself. Now, in one of my previous Seiko Sea Urchin videos, one of my viewers made a comment on wanting to know how you can remove a link from the bracelet in order to make it better fit the wrist. So this video is pretty much about that, how to remove a link or even possibly add extra links to the bracelet so that it better fits your wrist. Now, I couldn't make this video any sooner because the watch was out on loan, but now that it's back I can make this video and show you just how easy it is to remove links from this bracelet and also other bracelets that are similar. So there are a couple of tools that you'll need. One is this tool, which is known as a Springbar tool, and you can find these on Amazon or eBay relatively cheap. They don't have to be fancy or expensive or a branded type. Any will do as long as it has the basic functionality. One end will be a pin and at the other end there'll be a small pronged fork. And we're going to use this tool in order to remove the bracelet from the watch. As you can see, I've already removed the bracelet. But you'd use the pronged end in order to release the spring bars and get the bracelet off the watch. So that's one of the tools that you'll need, but you can reuse this again on other watches if you have other watches in your collection. So they're quite a handy tool to have if you don't already have one already. The other tool you'll need is a bracelet pin removal tool. This is a Swiss one, but again you can pick up a cheap Chinese or non-branded one that will work and do the job just fine. Now, preferably you want to find one that has like a height adjustable wheel here or height adjustable shims like on this one, and sometimes that can make the job easier in getting the bracelet the right height when you're fitting it inside the tool. So this tool has this wheel which has a thread and a long pin, and this long pin is what pushes out the pins in the bracelet and helps you to remove a link from the bracelet itself. So we'll just undo the safety clasp on the bracelet. Now, when you're adding or removing links from a bracelet, it's important to remember to do the removal or addition of links in an even way. So if you need to remove 2 links from the bracelet, you wouldn't remove 2 links from one side and do nothing to the other, because then when you wear the watch it makes the watch kind of look a little bit funny and a little bit odd and off because it's not even. So if you do need to remove more than 1 link, try to remove a link from each side rather than 2 from one side. It just helps make the watch look more symmetrical. So it doesn't matter whether you're adding or removing a link. If you kind of remember that rule to make it even, then it makes things a lot easier. Now, this particular bracelet that comes fitted on the watch has solid stainless steel links, with the exception being to the end links, which are actually folded steel. But these don't require any kind of adjustment, so we don't have to worry about them. I'm not sure it's going to come up on the video. I mean, it should do, but on the bracelet you can see there are little arrows. Not sure if it's going to focus there. And these little arrows are pointing upwards, and on this side the arrows are pointing downwards. And the arrows indicate which direction that the pin needs to be pushed through. I'm not sure if this is going to come up, but there are actually little holes, and inside those holes are pins that run through the bracelet links. So it's these pins that we need to remove, and it's a really easy, straightforward process to do. Now, in order to remove a single link, you need to usually remove 2 pins. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on this side. The arrows are pointing in that direction, so this tool is going to push the pin in that direction, the way that the arrow is indicating. So we're going to line up the pin here with the hole, and then we're going to push the pin through and then unscrew it so that we can remove the bracelet. And as you can see there, the pin has come out of the link, and you should be able to grab it with relative ease. If not, you can use a set of pliers and gently pull that out. So there we have a section removed, and we can now remove a link from this section in order to shorten the bracelet. So we line up the pin again, try to line it up, and then we push the pin out and then retract the pin. There we go, and as we can see, the pin is out again. If we pull the pin out, we can safely and easily remove a link without dropping it, preferably. So that's how you remove a link from the bracelet, and the same applies if you're adding extra links. If you've got 2 links in your box, you can take them out and you can add the 2 links here and make the watch longer. If you need to remove another link, then you can follow the same process again on the other side of the bracelet, because remember, we want to even things out. So let's say, for example, we've already removed all the links that we want to remove, and we want to get the watch bracelet back together. And that's a relatively simple thing to do. So again, you make sure that the arrow direction is pointing in the way that you want. So the arrow is pointing that way, and then you take your pins, and in the case of this bracelet, the pins are actually a folded type of pin, and on one end there is like a bulbous pear shape. I'm not sure it's really going to come up there in the video. But when you're replacing the pin, you put the thin end of the pin, not the bulbous end of the pin, back in the opposite direction of the arrow. I'll show you that now. So we have the link, and the arrow is pointing down. And we have the pin with the thin end. And we're going to put that back in the hole there. And it will go in most of the way. And then in order to make sure that the pin goes fully in place it on a hard surface and push it down. If the pins are particularly stiff when you're putting them back in, you can use the tool to push the pin back in and give you that extra bit of torque in order to get that pin in, or you can use a small brass or watchmaker's hammer or a nylon hammer in order to tap that pin back in on a hard surface, for example. So now we need to reattach this section to this section. And again, the arrows are pointing in that direction, so we want to get the pin with the thin end and put that down inside the hole like so. So the pin just sits in there like that. Place it on a hard surface and push it back in. And there we go. All the links are back in place, and the bracelet is now the right size. And the job really is as simple and as easy as that. Now you can apply this technique to quite a lot of watch bracelets, not all of them of course, because some of them have different designs, but any that use a straightforward pin pushing system, you can apply this principle to. So now that we have the bracelet all done, we can return the bracelet and the end links back onto the watch and reassemble it, and hopefully it'll be a good fit. If you find that once you've attached the bracelet back on the watch and it's not quite the right fit, it's a little bit too snug, remember that you do have an adjustment here on the clasp itself if you need to make it longer. Now as you can see, this is on the 3rd hole, so I could actually extend it by 2 extra holes, and that'll give me an extra about 1/4 of an inch of breathing space. And the other thing that's important to remember when you're adjusting a bracelet on a watch, depending on how hot you are or your blood pressure and things like that, sometimes you can put on a watch and you can find it's really tight, and other times you can find it's really loose. Your body changes and your wrist swells up and shrinks down, so it is worth remembering you do want a little bit of play when it comes to a watch bracelet, because of course sometimes your wrist is going to swell and you're going to think that the bracelet is the wrong size when it is just in fact your body. But that's it pretty much for this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below, and I will try and answer them whenever I can. But hopefully this video has been informative and helps any of you out there that are looking to remove or add links to your watch bracelet. Hopefully I'll have some watch reviews coming up on this channel soon. It's funnily enough a question of finding time to do that with the busy work schedule in the workshop, but I will try and get some more videos up. But until then, take care and have fun.